In this episode, we are speaking with Ben Albert, and we're going to be talking all about your offer and your brand and how to make yourself the go-to expert in your niche and make your offer a no-brainer decision for your audience. So stay tuned.
If you want to build a legitimate, profitable online business without shiny objects, without the hypey gimmicks, and without the stress and overwhelm, if you want to make more money without having to be present online all day, every day, pumping out content that nobody sees and hustling DMs to generate leads and sales, then this is the place for you. Welcome to the Digital Trailblazer podcast, your online business university, where you'll learn how ordinary people start from ground zero with no influence, no email list or audience to sell to, and no business or marketing experience, and go from working 9-to-5 jobs to building successful 6- and 7-figure online businesses and all the steps in between. Learn the strategies that worked and what didn't. Learn the mistakes that they made and how to avoid them, and then learn their plans for scaling their businesses and taking things to the next level. All so that you can build your business faster and easier and make more money without sacrificing the things that are important to you in your life. I'm your host, Leah Ray Getz, and with me is my husband, Todd. Now let's get to it with today's guest.
Welcome, everybody, to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. With us today is Ben Albert. Ben, welcome to the podcast. Before we jump into things here, just give our audience a quick rundown of who you are, what you do, and how you help people.
I'm pumped to be here, Todd. We're going to have some fun. What do? I just have fun every single day. My goal is simple: get the knowledge, the wisdom, and most importantly in this context, the solutions from the people who have it to the people who are looking for it. I have a podcast myself. I have a marketing firm. I have a community. Whether it's me working with a client, me learning from someone on my podcast, or the peer-to-peer support you get in a community mastermind, it's really just all about sharing that knowledge, sharing that wisdom, and helping people that have those needs.
Yeah, excellent. And so give us a little bit about your background. How did you come to do what you do?
That's a long story.
Can you give us the cliff notes?
The clickbait is I got let go during the COVID pandemic and I replaced my sales executive income in 1 year. That's the clickbait. But the reason I joke, like, how long do we have, is my entire career had led me up to that moment. Sales executive, corporate marketing firm, just started in my role right before the pandemic. Last one in, first one out. Did not have some Jeff Bezos, Oprah, Brene Brown, Elon Musk on my wall. Didn't think I was going to be an entrepreneur. Thought Gary Vee was actually kind of annoying. And suddenly I was an unemployed marketer and I leaned into the skill sets that I had learned. Started Balbird Marketing kind of on a whim because I needed money. And now I'm an accidental entrepreneur of 4 years.
Nice. Yeah, and I totally get that about Gary Vee. Like I never got into that, and I don't know why. But so now you really focus on helping businesses to become kind of like the gravity, or be the center of your audience's gravity. Was that it?
Mm-hmm. Well, how does gravity work?
Yeah, well, it attracts and it pulls people towards them, right?
Comes right, yeah. It comes. They don't even know that it's happening.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. They don't even know what's happening. So how do we do that? What's the starting point?
Well, I mean, the short answer is you deliver an immense amount of value. I worked for a job. I'm not going to put anyone on blast, but I spent about 15 minutes helping someone because they were in a really tough space in their marketing. And the short version is they just needed to set up a Google business profile. Back in the time, it was called a Google business page, or Google My Business, rather. And I spent 10 minutes helping them set that up, and I got wrote up for it because I was told we don't do things for free here. And what was crazy and possibly toxic about that mentality is I found that if I give. Now, granted, maybe I'm not wasting my time for free on individual concerns, but if I create podcast content, if I create free workshops, if I make introductions, if I deliver an immense amount of value, not everyone's going to buy from me, period, anyways, but I'm going to help a lot of people in the process. And the people that don't have the time, don't have the team, or are really struggling and just want the problem solved, They might not even be consuming all the content. They just see how much value I'm giving. They're the ones that are going to buy from me, and I'm a no-brainer solution for them because I've already created all the social proof necessary that it's an easy decision.
Gotcha. Right. So to me, this sounds very similar to the concept of attraction marketing. Is that what this is, or is it similar or related?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know exactly what attraction marketing is, but you're basically describing, yeah, so proper.
Yeah. So I love that concept because when I think about me and Leah and the way that we started our business, that was a concept that we had learned was the idea of attraction marketing. And that's what we did is we just put a ton of content out there. At first it was a blog posts and other social media content. Later on we got into video, and we really sucked at video at first, but we eventually got better at it. But yeah, it was just a matter of putting the content out there and promoting the content, and that eventually attracted our tribe. So for people who are just getting started with their business, or maybe they don't have a lot of content out there, what's the best way to get started? Like what advice would you give them if they haven't done this before and they need to get started with creating some content to attract their audience? What do they need to do?
So are they at zero as in they just started their business, or do they have an established business, they just don't have an online presence? Which one do we want to tackle?
Yeah, they've got an offer in place. They've maybe worked with some clients here and there, and they've gotten the clients through networking referrals. But now they want to start branching out, getting into a colder audience, a larger market, and maybe stop having to do the networking referrals. Where do they start with creating the content?
Yeah, so I'm going to be contrarian today, which I think is fantastic because with the AI and technology and automation, there's a million strategies we can do. But the core of marketing truly is social proof. It's a transfer of trust. So I wouldn't start talking about how cool I am. I wouldn't start talking about how smart I am or how I have the best product or I have the prettiest solution for you. I would just start talking about other people, their successes. Now, granted, in a lot of cases, if you have a lot of wins already, you just tell testimonials of your clients. Obviously, even better, you get them to leave you these video testimonials. You can have graphics, this and that. But I would start telling testimonials of my clients. Let's say I don't even have a ton of testimonials yet. I still would be sharing stuff I'm learning. What's working right now? What's one takeaway from my conversation with Todd today? What did I learn on this podcast? What did my client learn from our one-to-one session today? I would start sharing content that's based around other people because no one likes a braggadocious jerk anyways. And as you start bringing other people in your content, in your world, they're going to start sharing your content. They're going to appreciate that you shouted them out. They're going to become an ambassador for you. You become the glue between the problem and the solution. But instead of like jumping up and down and saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, I have the most ad dollars. Since you're sharing insightful information you're learning, since you're highlighting other people, people want to come to you because they see you friendly, they see you approachable. And the reason I bring this up as a great way to start posting content is we all have mentors. We all have mentees. We all have things we're learning. We just need to get out of our own way and share that stuff because the content that looks like an ad doesn't convert or get engagement anyways. The content that builds interaction, conversation, shares, and relationships is the content that converts.
Yeah. So you're talking about creating content around other influencers or bigger names in your niche. Is that what it is?
So I have a system around this. It's not a super complex system. I don't do complex, Todd. It's very simple. Plus minus equals. A plus is a mentor, a minus is a mentee or a client, and equals is a peer. My mentors are people that I'm learning from, that I'm paying. That, for example, a podcast, you can bring on a bunch of mentors. They might never spend money with you, but they actually give you a little bit of a reputation boost for the people that are spending money with you. Your minus is your audience, the people that are learning from you, the people that you're giving free value, the clients of yours. You want to obviously highlight those people as well, because that's what you do. Those are the people you help. So you've got your mentors, you've got your mentees and your clients, and then the peer-to-peer support. Peer-to-peer can act in two different ways, in my opinion. We both like digital dominance. We like marketing. We're trailblazers. We kick butt. We might not spend money on each other, but we can share industry insights and make both of us better. Maybe you offer a service I don't, vice versa. We can partner. And so it's really that like working with industry professionals in the peer-to-peer space. I think there's plenty of business to go around. And the other thing is complementary industries. I know we're both like in the online space, but a more traditional one that's no brainer to me is roofing, solar, landscaping. You got the curb appeal, you got the roof, you got the solar. Why would any roofer not know a curb appeal guy? Why would a curb appeal guy not know a remodeler for inside of the house? I jokingly almost started a business. Someone take it. I called it Real Estate First Impressions, where we do the inner work of the remodeling, we do the landscaping, and we do all the repairs because then we're preparing a high-end house for sale. Business idea I came up with, never launched. The concept is finding referral partners, co-collaborators, peers that together you can scale with one another, and you just apply these systems to whatever you offer.
I love that concept, the plus, the minus, and the equals. I never thought about it that way. Like I said, it's a simple way to think about it. Now, are you creating all of your content that way, or do you do some solo content as well?
I do solo content. It gets so tricky. Like it depends on the platform. As an example, like on LinkedIn, which is where I do a lot of my marketing, LinkedIn likes just no edits, just photos. Even if you put words on your graphic, it like decreases the reach. Don't make me explain algorithms. I didn't write them. So you just post a selfie on LinkedIn with something motivational. It goes well. I do post some of that stuff, but it's a balance, like the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time you talk about someone else, 20% of the time you talk about how you serve. 80% of the time you add value, 20% of the time you're making an offer. So I don't post all just selfies of myself, but I do share internal struggles, internal experiences, and stuff I've learned as well. Because at the end of the day, they're going to purchase from me. They're not going to purchase from anyone else. I mean, they might, but they're buying me. They're buying you, Todd.
Yeah. And the other thing, like you bring up this idea of collaborating and networking. I know that early on for me and Leah, and I think part of this mentality came because we started our business as network marketers, and in the network marketing world, there's like a lot of protectionism. Like you don't want other people stealing your downline. You don't want like the idea of collaborating with somebody else to build a business is just like really taboo. And I remember like early on in our business, we had this mentality of we don't want to have to rely on anybody else. Like we want to build this all by ourselves. We want to build our own audience. We want to do this, that, and the other thing. And networking, having to beg other people to get on their podcast or try to cozy up to somebody that we don't really like to get a referral or something just never really appealed to us. And as we built our business, we found out that networking can make things so much easier. Like I think part of it just had to do with a scarcity mentality, right? Like if you talk to a mindset coach or a life coach, they'll say, yeah, that's a scarcity attitude where you feel like your resources are limited and your ability to get clients is limited and kind of being selfish with it. We later on found out that the more you collaborate, the more you network, it's like a force multiplier. Like even if you're self-reliant on Facebook ads or paid advertising, you don't need anybody else to do that. Like things go so much faster when you collaborate and you network. So I think that's for the longest time, that was a huge part of our business that we were missing. And so I love it that you're advising people to do that right away because you will go so much faster right from the beginning.
Well, can I use network marketing as an example real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't, and I don't like the term network marketing because I think it misses the mark on what it actually is. It's recruiting and training and building a team. And if you're not a team player, you can't recruit, build, and train a team. And you definitely can't motivate anybody else to do the same. So yeah, I can market and I can have a high churn rate easily. Really what it is leadership. And leadership doesn't occur without connection. It doesn't occur without collaboration. It doesn't occur without humility. If I have scarcity, dude, why is there scarcity? There's like 4 billion people on this world. Like, calm down, everybody. Like, so that's my opinion on that. Like, I like to joke. People like to say they picked themselves up from their bootstraps. And I'm like, no, you didn't, because someone made the bootstraps, someone made the boots. None of this crap would have been possible without help. And the moment you start realizing nothing big can be accomplished without each other's help, all you need is the humility to ask for it and be a leader to bring people on board that can help. That's my thought on that. Well, what are you still in the network marketing industry, or what are you guys up?
No, no, we left that years ago. And it was for other reasons that we probably don't want to go into in this
Fair enough.
episode.
I want to talk about this offline with you, but anyway.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, we can do that. But yeah, I think a lot of it just had to do with, like you said, it's a scarcity mindset. But the idea that if you bring other influences in, well, now you're downline, and because it's really tough to recruit somebody into a network marketing opportunity. If you bring somebody else in, now they may want to join somebody else's downline. They may want to join somebody else's company, and there's that scarcity attitude because it does happen. It happens a lot.
You're
And
probably not very
even,
good then. I don't want to be
well,
like, I don't want to be the jerk in the situation, but if everyone wants to leave, then you're not doing a good job. That's just business 101. If you don't have clients that stay with you, you're not a good business person. I don't know. It's like tough to hear, but it's true.
yeah, well, and in network marketing, there's always a better opportunity. I know that there's people who join an opportunity and they do really well. They're one of the top earners in the company, but then they suddenly overnight they're joining another company because this other company is a startup and they promise them a better position and bonuses, and they leave and they take their downline with them, and it's, even though they're not supposed to, that's what happens, and that's one of the reasons why we don't do network marketing anymore. But even with what we're doing now with coaching, course creators and things like that, like, I don't have a problem bringing on direct competitors onto the podcast and letting them speak and teach and provide value. And if you look in the show notes, we promote their links and their webinars and everything else. I don't mind doing that because we've worked with enough people to know that even if they do buy from somebody else, that's not the last purchase they're ever going to make. Now, even though they buy from us, they join our program, that's not the last program or not the last course they're going to buy either. People who are serious about building their business, they're going to learn from multiple mentors. They're going to learn from multiple courses. I know from us, and we've had probably half a dozen high ticket coaches. I mean, this is not just spending $1,000 or $2. This is like 5-figure purchases. We're hiring these coaches, and we've had several of them. Smaller ticket courses, we buy several a year, almost a couple of months, just buying other people's courses. So that whole scarcity attitude, that the more experience and the more we got to know the industry, the less and less of that we had. So
I'm money and if someone's listening to this podcast, they at least have a phone, they have access to internet, they're out there getting, they're crushing it. I'm willing to bet they're not dead broke. If so, they're going to get out of it. I'm not concerned. But money is really just a tool. Once you have a security that you have enough, like you have the hierarchy of needs, you have basic shelter, like you're good. Your family's not starving. Money's just a tool. Like if you're not investing in something that's going to make you better, even worse, if you're investing in things that make you bitter, easy example, casinos, porn, crap like that. Like if you're investing money in stuff that makes you better, and I never want this to happen. Let's say you spend money on a course, it wasn't that expensive and it sucks. At least you went out and tried to invest in something that would make you better versus doing what a lot of people do and just wasting their money on BS. It's just a tool. I like spending money, but I don't have that much money to spend all the time. But I spend it on stuff that's going to make me better, you know?
yeah, absolutely. And I will say, I don't know that I've ever bought a course. I mean, I've bought courses that weren't that good, but I still learned something from them.
I've met a couple of really bad ones, Todd.
Oh yeah.
Definitely scam bait. But anyways,
I suppose that there's plenty of those out there. I don't know that I've run into one yet, though.
we'll talk about those offline, I can tell you.
Yeah, I think we'll have to. So, as far as creating this content, how do you decide what you're going to talk about and what content you're going to create?
These questions are so big. This is one thing, and I know you know this in what you do. You want to diagnose the need of the individual. So I'm going to give very generic answers, but if you're on Instagram, it's a lot different than TikTok, which is a lot different than an email list, which is a lot different than LinkedIn. At the core, I like to simplify it because I like to put out content and messages that are aligned with me. And it's a long process I'm going to make really, really simple for everybody. You go to google.com and you look up long list of values. long list of values. I know a list from Brene Brown comes up, Dare to Lead. It's like second or third on the list. I like that one specifically because it's a PDF you can download. What I do, again, I'm simplifying a process that should have some data, some research, some ICP, ideal customer profile in it. But I'm going to sit down real quick, intuitively, and I'm going to circle all the values that resonate with me. Then round 2, I'm going to cross out half of them. Then round 3, there's a lot of ways that we can go into our, I'm going to make it so uncomplicated for right now, Todd, because we don't have all day. I'm going to decide on 3. So my goal is to find on 3 values, or to make it easier, we'll call it 5. Then I'm going to sit down with those 5 values and ask myself one simple question. Is this aligned with my ideal customer? If none of your values are aligned with your ideal customer, you actually might be in the wrong industry. You might have the wrong solution entirely. But 9 times out of 10, some of those values, if not all of those values, will be aligned with your ideal customer. You might be very faith-driven, you might be family-driven, and you might want to always evolve. You might be growth-driven. So you wrote down faith, family, and growth. If your customers also believe in that, you're just going to talk about those 3 topics. And you're going to loop in your product and service as the solution to basically inject steroids into one of those topics. If you want a better connection with your family, if you want to grow a little bit each day, incremental growth, if you want a better faith and connection to your higher power, insert the blank. Again, this is very generic and simple version of it, but 3 of my values are growth, connection, fulfillment. So when you look at my messaging online, I'm always talking about growth. I'm always talking about making connections, building bridges. I'm talking about having a fun and fulfilling time, actually living well while we do it. And then I connect to clients that have those values as well. And as you said, with attraction marketing or being the center of their gravity, they're going to come to you because they're attracted, because they're like you. And at the end of the day, like, I'd love to have a $1 billion business, but if it's a $1 billion business and I'm surrounded by jerks, I might not enjoy myself that much. So I want to build a business worth building, in my opinion. And that's how you do it.
Okay. So this content you're creating, it's not necessarily specifically about your offer. It's like you said, like it may be you're talking about faith or you're talking about family, and then somewhere in there you're looping in your offer.
I often don't loop my offer in every single time, though, because then it just like sounds like an infomercial. But I might talk about, let's say, faith, for example, which isn't the strongest value of mine, even though I do value it. I could talk about an experience at my church and just post that and say, Todd taught me this in the last sermon. This is why I go to church. And I never mentioned my offer, but other people that have that value are going to be tuned in. They're going to comment. And when I do make an offer, it's going to come up on their feed because they've been commenting on my non-offered post as well. If we're only making offers, we're going to get suppressed in the algorithm.
Gotcha. So what you're describing here is you're first creating content that's casting a really wide net that's going to attract the characteristics and values of the people that you want to work with.
And what I personally do is I'm a DM freak. I'd rather start a one-to-one conversation and make an offer in a safe space like a DM or on a Zoom or a phone call than try to pitch everybody on my feed. So I always try to find a scenario where I can have a one-to-one conversation. It's difficult to do at scale. That's why it's great to have team members. But I try to sell, at least for my high ticket, like if it's a lot of my tickets are $30K plus a year products. I don't sell that through hey, I have a $30K plus a year program. I'm going to sell that with a one-to-one client, a prospect call. But the way I'm going to get their attention is by building a relationship with the content and starting a conversation possibly in the DMs. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
It's old school as hell, and it works.
Well, and it's counterintuitive to the way a lot of people think about building a business too, right? It is. And maybe it just has to do with the way that marketing gurus are promoting their things about, you're going to reach just the buyers and you're going to reach a, red hot, ready to buy audience and things like that. What we're doing here is we're creating a funnel with your content. And when you think, a sales funnel, And when you think about the way a funnel works, the top of the funnel is the biggest, widest part of that. If you think that you're going to attract just the buyers with the content that you're creating, that's like having a really narrow top of funnel. It's a really difficult way to build a business. But with what you're doing, so that top line content that you're creating is attracting the people who have the same values, whether they're really in your niche or not. You're casting a big wide net for the top of your funnel. And then with that next level content, like you said, that like the 20%, that's where you're talking more about your offer. And now we're starting to get more niche down, right? The people who are in that top level that are ready to move down to that bottom level, yeah, it's going to be a smaller audience. And that's the way a funnel is supposed to work, right?
It depends on how expensive your offer is, how many clients, how your systems work. But if you're a high ticket provider, the bottom of your funnel should be incredibly narrow, very, very narrow. So narrow that you might even have a dry spell and you're like, where's the next client? Because it's very narrow. But if you have a wide enough top, you at least bring in the eyeballs that you can sift through and find that perfect fit client for that perfect fit product. And if you do that properly and the product actually is kick butt, referrals print themselves because you've delivered results to a very specific kind of person. But the way to go viral is to generalize. But the way to make a ton of money is to simplify, is to niche down. But you're never going to go viral without generalizing.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's, like you said, that's like a no-brainer concept. But when you're building your own business, a lot of people don't think that way.
Wait,
and,
I
and,
think
and
there's a lot of BS out there. Like people forget human behavior in the basic fundamentals of business: attention, attraction, delivery. And if you deliver, you immediately harness more attention.
Yeah. So if I get what you're saying here is that you definitely do want to niche down with your offer, but when you are creating your content, you want to be more generalized in order to have a better chance of going viral and building a bigger brand and a name for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's not coming from me. Some people never want to go viral and they don't have to. And if you're really targeted, it doesn't matter. But if you want to go viral, you want to have viral appeal. Because this isn't rocket science. The algorithms aren't out to get us. They're going to show stuff that people like. And if you're way too niche, ain't nobody going to like it. Unless you run ads, which is a whole different conversation. That's the beauty of ads. You can pay them to get you in front of the right people. But if you're not paying them, it's really hard. They're not going to just do it out of their own goodwill.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like you got to keep in mind, why are people on social media? Why are they on YouTube? Why are they on TikTok? It's not usually to buy something, right? They're there to be entertained. They're there to get informed, right? They're there for these other reasons. And you need to meet people where they're at, right? You can't suddenly jump into TikTok and hit people with a pitch and expect that to go viral.
Unless the pitch is really, 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 really good. But if you say the wrong thing, you're going to end up getting sued anyways. All you need to do is click the button below and I'll turn this phone into a money printing machine. You can't say stuff like that because it's not
guaranteed, or your money back.
Yeah. Guaranteed, or else I'll pay you with my money printing machine.
Yep. And there's people who have been sued big time for that.
I think that like false promises, I don't want to go here, but this is part of why network marketing has gotten a bad rep in a lot of contexts is people are over-promising. If you over-promise and under-deliver, you might have a fast grab of cash, but if you want to be a long-term business professional, that's not how you run a business.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right. And misrepresenting, the income that people are actually making, and there's a lot of other things that I think are currently being fixed in the industry. I know that we've had network marketing trainers on the podcast before that were actually doing it right? They were building the business by promoting the product first, not the opportunity. And they were very successful with it. And that's what they were teaching. And I think if you're going to build network marketing, that's the way you need to do it. If you try to promote the business opportunity, that's where you really start getting in trouble. That's where the FTC really starts coming in and starts taking a closer look at things and shutting companies down. But when you have a product first business where the product is actually selling, and then you build the business on the back end of that, that's where you're in a much safer opportunity, and something that if you're successful building it, I think is going to be a good opportunity for you.
You know what's hard to do? Todd, but it makes you a lot more money. You create your own product. That's why I like a lot of your listeners. I can go sling someone else's product. They get in trouble. I lose my book of business. If I'm a true entrepreneurial person who creates my own digital product, creates my own solution, that's where the real money's made. It's creating a solution that didn't exist before you.
Yeah. And for us, that was kind of the sticking point too, is that we came into network marketing and, we weren't dummies. We'd graduated college. I had a master's degree and we did well. We had good grades. We had good jobs. We were successful in our careers. And then suddenly get into network marketing and we struggle. And we see all other people having success. They were not as well educated. They were uglier than us and dumber than us. And they were having more success.
That's everybody though, Todd. Everybody's uglier than you. I'm pissed off that it's just you today. Like, what a good couple. What's going on?
This is a burden.
I'm not actually that mad. I'm kidding.
But that was the thing. And we know, and to us, it just didn't make sense that we could work that hard at something and just not be successful. And then we saw other people who were creating their own products, building their own businesses. And it seemed a lot easier than doing network marketing. And so that's kind of the direction that we went. And sure enough, it was much more predictable. It was easier to do. We didn't have to rely on the downline in order to build our business for us. I mean, there was a lot of reasons for it, but yeah, I mean, once you get good at generating leads, making sales and things like that, you think about how much profit you make with a network marketing business versus just creating your own product. I mean, it's exponentially more profitable just to go off on your own and do it once you've built those skills. I will say that we did learn a lot of valuable skills doing network marketing though, and it wasn't easy. It's like the gateway drug to entrepreneurship, right? That's the way that we describe it. And I don't know that we would have become entrepreneurs any other way than getting started with network marketing. I will say that about it.
I know a lot of really great professionals that started with Cutco specifically.
Hey, I did that. We have a full set of Cutco knives in our kitchen right now. I love it. I couldn't sell it, but I love it. And that's the thing. Once you've built the skills, why not? Leah and I, the very first skill that we got really good at was lead generation, putting together just simple offers with a landing page and running traffic through either organically or through Facebook ads. And that was like the very first course that we put together. And that course made us millionaires. We would never have gotten there if we had just kept promoting other people's stuff. Now, I mean, maybe it could happen. It does happen. But I mean, for us, it was just a much faster path and much more reliable. And we can build our business the way that we want, just creating our own stuff. So this has been a very interesting and fun conversation, but I know that we're running out of time. If people want to learn more about you and what you do, where can they head?
Show some love here first, because obviously I wouldn't be here without our lovely hosts. Todd, thanks for inviting me. So show some love in the comments here, like, subscribe, all that shabam. If you want to find me, just type in the words real business connections. If you can't spell those words, type it into Google. It'll autocorrect. It's not complicated. Type in real business connections wherever you found this. I've got a podcast. I have an agency. Just say hello. I'm pretty easy to talk to. Just type in real business connections and you'll find me.
Awesome. And you do have a freebie for our audience too, don't you?
Oh, did I mention the Grow Getters Only? I forget what I told you I would give them.
Yeah, growgettersonly.com/Ben. What is that?
Nice. I forgot I set that up for you. We didn't talk about it today. I'm even wearing the shirt, so I don't know why I didn't think of that. You'll actually make money too, Todd. This is a way everyone can we talked a lot about collaboration. We talked a lot about bridging gaps, peer-to-peer support. Grow Getters Only is my community. We meet weekly. We have mentors monthly, everything from Emmy Award winners to keynote speakers. And it's a community of established entrepreneurs. It's only $1 for 30 days. If you really don't have the dollar, just find me and I'll Venmo you the dollar. And if it's valuable after 30 days and you hang out, I'm going to pay Todd some money and you're going to gain value because you're going to be at home with other established entrepreneurs. So I forgot I was going to mention that. But if you want to help Todd make money, help yourself, and really just be surrounded by other cool people, just go to growgettersonly.com, growgettersonly.com/Ben. And then I'm pretty sure it's just $1 or free. And if you don't have the dollar, I've got you. It's $1.
Ben, this has been so awesome. This is a very interesting conversation. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. For show notes and information about today's guest, head to digitaltrailblazer.com. Now, if you love this episode, if you got some value, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe. And be sure to share this episode with anyone you know who could use help to build their business. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.